Welcome back, friends. Amanda with the Happy Homestead. If you have been watching or subscribing for a couple of months now, you may have remembered that I talked about school snacks and that I try as much as possible, I am human, but I try to make a lot of my kids' school snacks, right, to help eliminate more of the processed items and the seed oils, which maybe you saw that video as well recently. And so today I'm going to show you some of the snacks that are just easily within our repetition of what we're making and what I'm giving them. Now, my kids have to go to school with a lunch and I guess it's one snack bag. It was two for the longest time. It's one snack bag now, but I put between 2 and 3 things in each snack bag. So I really try to vary it up because I know they get sick of the same things. So I'm going to show you 2 things on how you can make it at home. So simple. One does require a dehydrator. The other, everyone can do it. And then after all of that is said and done, I'm going to show you some of the other snacks that we just have in the house, both homegrown or homemade, as well as some purchased things that I have deemed safe. So let's get started on our first item. So when I say this is simple, I truly mean it. Most of these ingredients you probably have on hand, and if there's something you don't have on hand, I would tell you to just skip it. I'll let you know as I go through. But we're basically going to mix everything in a bowl, and we are going to roll everything out into probably like about a 1-inch ball. And then I store them in a container in the refrigerator and then give them 1 or 2 balls per snack or per lunch. Now, I'm going to be saying the word ball a lot. Even in the couple times I've said it, I'm like, oh God, someone is going to be cracking up on the other end of the camera. So let's just get that out for me too. All right, so what we're gonna do, that's who this channel is apparently. 1 cup of old-fashioned oats, 2/3 cup of shredded coconut, half a cup of peanut butter. Creamy peanut butter is easier to work with. A half a cup of ground flaxseed, half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, a 1/3 cup honey, a tablespoon of chia seeds, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you don't have the toasted coconut and the chia seeds or the flax seeds, you could skip them, right? I wouldn't necessarily say the chia and the flax add a lot of flavor, but they do add a lot of nutrition. Very high fiber, the omegas, just some really good things there for your kids. The coconut does add a level of healthy fat, as well as the peanut butter, but really this adds flavor. So if you had to skip the chia and the flax, go ahead, but I would say if you have the coconut, use it, unless your kids don't like coconut. I'm going to throw all of it in, so it really is that easy. So let's go. And your measurements don't have to be exact, which is even better. All right, I had 1 cup oats, 2/3 cup shredded coconut. Now I am using unsweetened, organic unsweetened coconut. Half a cup of ground flaxseed. Half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now I buy the mini chocolate chips from Azure Standard. In fact, I just picked these up on our last order. And so the mini chips actually work really well for this recipe too. All right, we're gonna do 1 tablespoon chia seeds. I'm just gonna eyeball this. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. Again, eyeballing it. I need a half a cup of peanut butter. Now we buy this peanut butter from Azure Standard. It is unsweetened, creamy peanut butter. It is in a 9-pound pail, and we're already almost more than halfway through it. It is delicious. We keep this in the refrigerator to help keep it from separating, but That still does happen from time to time. If you don't want to use peanut butter for reasons that, you know, are very valid, whether it be allergies with your own children or, you know, classmates, maybe the school has you know, it prohibits peanut butter products coming in. Totally get that. You can use sun butter instead. And if you have a child or know a child with nut allergies, you're most likely very familiar with sun butter. Looks just like this, tastes very similar, but is made from sunflower seeds. All right, half a cup. A third cup of honey. I'm just gonna eyeball this. Raw, local honey is best. If you do not know a beekeeper, go find yourself one, create that relationship, because you'll never have better honey. This is honey from our bees. And again, for those of you that have followed along and know my bee adventures with our bees, we've been beekeeping for about 6 years now, maybe 7. I have earned this honey. If you've been following along with how I get attacked. All right, and now we're just gonna mix it in. The hardest part is really just mixing in all of the peanut butter. All right, I'm adding a touch bit honey because I want to make sure everything sticks together. The other thing you can do is after you've got it really incorporated, you can put this in the refrigerator to let it cool down a little bit, and then it is easier to handle that way too. So if you're pressed for time, then I would probably wear some sort of glove, which is what I'm going to do for the sake of the video today. And then if you wanted to, you could put this in the refrigerator and let it cool down before you start rolling it out. "22 balls will now go in the refrigerator, and they will last a very long time. Now you'll notice I just put a sheet of parchment paper between them. It's not necessary. It does just help keep them in their good shape and prevent them from all kind of sticking together. But if you keep them in the refrigerator, that's very less likely to happen. So next on the list is fruit roll-ups. These are surprisingly very easy to make, and compared to the ones you can purchase in the store, so much better for you. So again, if you've been following along at all, you know that I have a lot of bags of frozen fruit. And I've got it written down somewhere, but I think I've got at least between 5 and 6 gallons of frozen strawberries in our freezer, and then probably another 2 to 3 gallons left of frozen peaches. And so having some frozen fruit in your freezer, this is a great way to use it. There's many ways, but this is a really good one as well. And it's also, if you just need to clean your freezer out and kind of get some things out, another great way to do it with making something that is shelf stable at room temperature. So literally, I'm just gonna explain what I do before I do it. All I am doing is throwing my partially thawed fruit. You can use perfectly thawed. I find that half and half, right? Half frozen, half thawed, usually works better just when you're pouring it out, a much better, thicker consistency, because I'm going to be throwing everything in the blender, all my fruit, and just my fruit. I don't add any other sweeteners or flavors. You can, but I choose not to. I am then going to be pouring them out on my dehydrator sheets. Now these are called Teflax, or like non-stick sheets. This is a typical dehydrator tray. You can't pour it out on this, it'll fall through. So you use these Teflax or non-stick sheets to help keep it from making an even bigger mess. But the thicker the consistency, the easier it is to kind of contain on your sheet and not really have it roll all over the place. I am going to add just a tad bit of water here to really help the blending get going. And you can experiment with all kinds of flavors. There's an endless amount of options. I added probably about 3/4 cup water. It's almost like a gelato right now, which could be delicious, but I'm going to add a little bit more water just to really help get this blending. I did about 1/2 cup that time. This is still pretty thick, so again, you're gonna wanna play around with this. But I'm good with this consistency. It is like a gelato, but it is fully blended up. All I'm gonna do is really try to spread it out as evenly as I can. And I have a couple of tricks to do this. Spatula, rubber spatula, certainly first step. And you don't wanna get it too close to the edges, just in case it does start to run a little bit during the dehydrating process. But look how gorgeous the color is. I mean, it's just, and there's nothing artificial in here, right? It's just the peaches and strawberries. All right, the first thing I do is really just start tapping this on the ground. And that helps kind of distribute anything and get it as flat as possible. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, this process is going to be not impossible, right, in an oven, but certainly probably a little more hands-on. So I personally do not have any experience doing this in an oven. I've only ever done this in the dehydrator, and I'm dehydrating these at 135 degrees, and it's probably going to take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours total, flipping it halfway through. So I just kind of keep that in mind if you think you're going to try that with the oven. So I have the dehydrator going. Like I said, I have it at 135 degrees. I will check it in probably a few hours. I'll come back and show you what it looks like at the right time to flip and at what hour, kind of how long of a time frame that was. So see you soon. Guys, it's been about 4 hours since I put these in the dehydrator. So I am going to show you what it looks like because I think most of it is ready to flip. So I'm hoping you can see the difference here, but do you see this part, how it's, I guess it looks a little bit lighter in color, right? This part is still fairly wet, whereas the outsides, this looks perfect as far as the fruit leather to go ahead and flip. So these ones, I've been rotating the trays, so I would recommend that as well. But I'm just gonna start with this one. And so by using these non-stick sheets, it helps. Nothing is perfect. This is not a fruit roll-up manufacturing plant, but I promise they're delicious. Yeah, it didn't really flip pretty, but This is the kind of consistency that you are looking for. And sometimes I just even leave it as one big sheet, and I'll try to flip it as one big sheet, but I find that it does not dry at the same rate. So you do want to be very careful of that. And you don't want to just let it dry forever. All right, you see that? You see how that kind of got wet there? Because it is going to then just crack. So here's another one. This actually looks really good. Do not stress about trying to make these perfect, because you'll just go crazy. When it's time to kind of like take them out of the dehydrator, I wrap them in parchment paper, and you can easily stick pieces together to make one piece. So do not get hung up. If you're a person that you think will get hung up on it, this is a great test of your patience. So I'm gonna let that go for probably a couple more hours, check it again, and then just do the same thing, right? Flip anything that needs to be flipped. But I'll come back and show you once they're really great in that leathery dry texture, and we'll wrap them up. Now, inevitably, as you're making your fruit leather, it is not all gonna dehydrate at the same time. So I suggest that you really do this on a day you're going to be home, or you can do it at night, but only set your dehydrator go for maybe 4 or 5 hours, have it turn off, and then you can check it in the morning and adjust as you need to from that point forward. But most of these are done. So I'm now gonna roll them up and show you how I package them. So all I do is take some parchment paper with my fruit roll-up strips, and this is where I'll basically kind of put some together. My kids really don't care. I just try to make it enough that makes it interesting for them, worth their while, and enough that they want to eat it, right? So I've reused some of these strips, that's why you see them look the way they do, but then I just roll it up. And when you roll it up like this and keep it in a container, inevitably some moisture will be in here, and it's okay. Especially if some of them are really dry, I find that they actually become the perfect texture in a day or two. The point is they're not going to dry out anymore, right? And they're not going to get so, you know, it's not going to be in such a wet, damp, or moist environment that they're going to get ruined. Because I will put a lid on this. So I'm just going to roll up all the ones that I can, and then I'll show you what else we do for snacks. So I've got 6 rolled up. I've probably got about another 2 or 3 rolls that I can do that are in the dehydrator, and I'll do that later tonight when those are done. Now, again, I just want to restate this, because these aren't fully dry, there is still a little moisture in here, which is okay. It'll all level out, and these are going to be the perfect texture for when you need to go pull them for your kids. Now, they will last on the counter, no need to refrigerate. Anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks, they probably would last longer. But remember, there is some moisture content, so you don't want them to mold, but within a 1 to 2 week period, they'll be fine. All right, so that is all I wanted to show you as far as 2 homemade snacks. I'm gonna show you some other things that we have here in our kitchen and our pantry that I use on a kind of rotational, regular basis to give you some ideas for some healthy snacks for your kids. Okay, let's start here. Let's start in this middle row. These are dried figs. Now, if you watched any of the Every Bit Counts challenge, you saw that I actually dehydrated these figs. They are really good snacks. In fact, I tried to do a lot of fruit in general. These are dried peaches, again, from the peach truck that I got this past summer, and I sliced and dehydrated those. So we often have figs and dried peaches. I also do dried apple chips. I just don't have any apples right now, but hopefully this fall I'll get to do that. The kids love the dried apple chips as well. Same process, slice and dehydrate as the peaches. We also do popcorn. Again, you probably saw my last Azure video where we buy this organic multicolor popcorn, and this is a great option as well. No salt, no butter, just the popcorn. These are dried peas, again, from our last Azure order. I've only had these for about a week, so I'm just now trying these out. I'll let you know how that works. And then as far as, applesauce, let's go right here. So this is home canned applesauce, homemade applesauce from last year. I sometimes use applesauce as a great snack. And now we'll go on to some of the purchased items. So this is the cottage cheese. Again, had this in our last Azure order. So I bought a case of 6 in our last order, which was a week and a half ago, and we're already down to 3. So this has been a winner so far. Along with this, the Nancy's brand has a yogurt, a really good probiotic yogurt that I have in the refrigerator. So we sometimes do the yogurt as well. I also really like to mix the yogurt with the applesauce, and it adds a little bit of sweetness, but natural sweetness. Along the yogurt route, this is one thing I do buy, and that is the Stonyfield Organic Kids Yogurt Tubes. As far as ingredients, I'm not going to say it is perfect and the absolute best, but it is certainly not the worst. So we sometimes do these too, just for ease and mommy's sanity.
Sometimes my mommy packs us organic cheese sticks for my backpack.
Yep, and where do we get that?
We get it from Costco.
Thank you. Okay, and also we sometimes buy other snacks from Costco, but I'm always reading the labels. This is something new, and that's called That's It Mini Fruit Bars. And the ingredient list is literally 2 fruits. So it's very similar to what I just did with the fruit leather, but this is on a much more mass-produced scale. It is not organic fruit. It is the non-GMO Project Verified, and it is gluten-free. But there's 3 flavors in here, and they come in just like these little packaging, and looks like it's about that big. But it's basically apples and strawberries, apples and mangoes, and apples and blueberries. So this is a really good option too. And sometimes when you buy these packaged things, it just makes the kids a little bit more excited.
Then we have these meat sticks that we buy from Costco.
Yep.
And me and my brother love them.
Yes, you can have one. Yes, we have just recently purchased these. I've been looking for something a little more meat protein related, and these are pretty clean as far as the ingredients. I bought these at Costco. So these are Country Archer Provisions grass-fed beef sticks. Now these are kind of smaller kid size, so they're perfect size. 0 sugar, 4 grams of protein. Again, it's just another way to get them pretty excited about something without giving them the junk. I also sometimes do hard-boiled eggs. I think that is a fantastic snack, so we'll put those in their lunches from time to time. The last thing I wanted to show you are 2 options that we use to help transport these items. And the first one here is this stainless steel little cup, and it comes in many sizes. I'll try to find the link and put it below for you so you can get some yourself, but it's basically a stainless steel cup with a silicone lid, and it just kind of stays on there. You gotta snap it on a little bit. But the kids have managed this so far pretty well.
Then my mom has these pouches that she puts like little smoothies in, and it has a little opening lid you can put it in, and it's really big so you can fill the whole thing out.
Very good. Yes, she is correct. They're very big. I got these reusable pouches on Amazon. Again, I'll link below. What's great is that, yes, so the bottom has this kind of envelope enclosure, if that's what you call it. I don't even know. And so you can fill it from the bottom, just you don't want to fill it all the way up. They actually have a line right here. So when you're upside down, you're filling it. The line is right here. You don't want to fill beyond that because you need to be able to accurately and successfully close the bottom. And so you just have to make sure you kids bring these home. You have to tell them, right? Bring it home. But I'll often make smoothies, green smoothies, fruit smoothies, put them in here and keep these in the freezer and then send them to school that morning, take it out of the freezer. And so it's a really great cold snack. It doesn't maybe fully thaw, but it's got that perfect kind of ice creamy gelato texture when it's thawed a little bit, and they love these. Last but not least, fresh fruit. We always try to do bananas, apples, mandarin oranges, grapes. As you saw, we got grapes in our last Azure order. We're already through 2 of those huge clamshells, so 6 pounds is already gone. But I always try to do fresh fruit. So when we do go to the store, it's something that I try to always have on hand. And sometimes we will do like carrot sticks or fresh green beans with a ranch dip. And I do have a video, I believe, on how you can make your own dry ranch dip mix. And I use that with yogurt. So I'll actually take some of that ranch dip mix it in with some really good probiotic yogurt. And that is the dip for their carrot sticks or green beans. I think that's about the extent of some of the larger things that we use within the regular rotation. I hope this was helpful. And I just want to say, like, I get it, right? At some point, at some time in our parenthood life of packing meals 5 times a day for 18 years, well, it may not be 18 years, but it gets old. It gets boring, not only for you, but for them. So it is really important to really rotate, try new things. Think about what you purchase a lot of. Granola bars are something that is so easy to purchase. So make sure you're buying maybe the cleanest brand, right? Look at those ingredients. Try to avoid those seed oils, anything really processed, anything that says artificial. Anything that says the word preservative after in parentheses, try to avoid all of that. And think about maybe just one thing a week that you want to try to make yourself, even with your children, to get them excited too. It all helps. It all works towards that greater good of overall health. Thanks for joining me today. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.